Something I think about when I parent John, my cat, and I say parent, and I know I'm not trying to take away from the difficulty of child parenting. Cat parenting is a million times easier than child parenting, like 100 million, even when they're a kitten. I just, like that word. But, just, taking care of John, I find myself thinking about the BFG, the book by Roald Dahl, and how, in my place of life, I am kind of like the BFG in that metaphorical sense. Basically, I have been working my way through it, but have been facing doubt about myself and my life, and even at times whether or not life was worth living. And it's a hard idea to face, because when you feel like life is so hopeless and that it's going nowhere, you just want to, and it also happens to suck at that moment. It's like, well, then what am I even doing here at all? Like, I'm done. I'm tired of this. But you got to push on, like the thing is that the only thing any of us can do in life is whatever it is our hearts truly desire. And I know it sounds corny, but it's just true. At least I believe it is. It's true to me. Because, think about when you're dying and you have regrets, you're just going to think about the things that you never did, that you wish you did do. At least that's what I imagine I would think about. And I think that's what a lot of people end up thinking about because they have, a lot of reasons why life is difficult, most of them being like financial. The world we live in is like really unfriendly to most people. And there's a lot of people who get really idealistic like me who don't always realize that, like me. And it's like, so like the vast majority of the world, like 90% is not living a happy or like a sustainable life, really. Like everybody is really just trying to do everything they can to survive at this point, which it's ironic that we've created this problem by trying to push the bounds of society so far, at least in my personal opinion. I think that, the government focuses way more on pushing forward technology and arms races, especially with AI and things like that now. Like that's the focus again. And I don't know how we're just doing this. I don't know how we're just making the same mistakes again. And just, I don't know how that's, I guess I do know how. It's just there's a lot of old guys still in power, and there's really only a few guys truly in power, which is not good. It's not good. And, I don't even know that much. But from what little info I, as a regular guy, am able to find out, it's just pretty fucked up, man. And there's a lot that they're not telling us because they're just profiting off of our existence. And I'm not even like, I'm in a position, frankly, in my life of extreme privilege to where I don't get affected by these things nearly as much. The fear of what will happen to me if I don't like shape up my life is very present in that sense, because, I did drop out of school and I was going to school and my parents were paying for it. And, a lot of people would do some real bad things to get that opportunity. And in fact, my own family did go through a lot of extreme difficulty to get me in this generation this opportunity, and when you think like that, you start to feel guilty, but you just have to balance that with what you truly want out of life. And because at the end of the day, the reason that families push you to be better, especially like if you have like parents who maybe are depressed, which my parents were depressed when I was younger, and especially if it's money related, it's the kind of thing where they just regret a lot of whatever choices they made, because as the world has changed, it's only really rewarding genuine and lucky people. It's not like the people who were taught traditional values, like they still have to get really lucky and work really hard to even get anything, and a lot of them fall flat, and a lot of people work dead end jobs and get stuck in those places more and more and more and more. And so it's just tough to see, you know? And, you know, I don't even see the half of it. Like, that's not even the worst it gets. Like, there's literal wars and shit going on that I can't even handle following. I can't afford to spend my time thinking about that stuff anymore. And I feel like being educated on it is really important for me, but not at this exact moment, you know? Like at this moment, I'm so like, you know, I'm so stuck on myself, and I need to figure out how to not be so stuck on myself. And, you know, one of the ways to do that is to just build a life for myself. I need to figure that out, you know? Oh, damn, I'm low. I need to sleep. But yeah, it's a weird time to be alive, and I have high expectations for myself. That's just the flat truth. And I don't think that that's everybody. I don't think everybody has the highest expectations for themselves. I've just always been told by my family that I was going to do something great. And that's a weird thing to say to a kid, right? Like, you know, it like makes you want to be that like main character, egotistical, there's a prophecy about me type of like guy. It makes you want to do that. It's made me want to be that type of guy when I feel like I am fitting what people like, what my family has said about me. But the truth of it is that I'm not necessarily, you know, I'm just really lucky. I'm just, you know, I had a really supportive family in a lot of ways. I was very comfortable and loved and cared for. And so like, that's not something that you can just expect out of life. And even amongst that, I found ways to be so upset at my parents. And it's just like, it's part of life, you know, everything is relative. The struggles that I faced were real to me, but at the same time, you know, it represented a failure to have a wide perspective on my life and think about what really matters to me. To be honest, I was just chasing people. I was just like chasing interactions with people and trying to learn more about people more than anything else. And while doing that, make myself the best person I could be. And so, you know, I was playing a lot of volleyball, and I still do. Volleyball has kind of become a really big part of my life. And I am a lot better of a person ever since I started playing volleyball. I mean, I take care of myself in a much more intentional way. I have a healthy outlet for a lot of my, you know, energy and, you know, in some ways physical aggression. Not that like I'm restraining myself from beating every person around me, but in the sense that like it's fun to hit ball hard, you know what I mean? And it's fun to have an opportunity to just hit something as hard as you can, or, you know, do or jump as high as you can, you know, like to have opportunities to do that, to dive as far as you can, to pass as well as you can, to have those constant opportunities to be perfect and to do your role as best as you can in order to win. That's the most beautiful part of volleyball to me. And I think that it's a really balanced sport in the ways where physical dominance matters a lot, and tactics and smartness and understanding the game is equally as important, really, if not more. But, you know, at the highest level, you've got so many guys with both. And, oh, he's really getting my foot, but I'm chill. I'm chill. Hoping he'll just, like, read that it hurts a little bit. I'm gonna let him stay. But he's really getting my foot right now. I gotta be chill. I gotta be zen. I gotta focus on placing. Wait, I made an area. What am I doing? I had a water wheel area. God, I'm so distractible. Okay, so he's nibbling on my toe. God, I really never shut the hell up, do I? I just talk and talk and talk and talk. Whoa.